Good afternoon, my name's David Ledesma and it's my great pleasure to interview Marvin Zonis, who is Geopolitical Expert at the University of Chicago. Marvin, welcome to Amsterdam. Hope you're enjoying the Flame Conference. It's
delighted to be here.
Great.
Learning something.
Yeah, well, we learned a lot today from you. So, I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions, if I can, following up from your great presentation, and perhaps rather a general one to start off with, if I may. What do you think the top one or two geopolitical challenges facing our gas industry today? What do you think?
Well, the key geopolitical issues are, first, I think, the unrest that's going on in the Middle East.
Yep. Yeah.
The overthrow of the existing regimes means a new kind of foreign policy, a new relationship to energy markets, a new relationship to Europe and the United States. Yep. But most importantly, I think a long-term political instability, because these countries are not going to get their regimes straightened out anytime soon. So that's certainly a key thing. A second thing, it seems to me, that's really important is the future of Chinese growth. Because Chinese economic growth is driving demand, of course, for commodity after commodity. They're very worried about inflation. They're raising rates. They're raising the amount of money banks have to keep on reserve to slow the economy down because they're afraid it'll fall apart or blow apart. And if they do, and if the demand for these commodities declines, the global energy picture is going to change.
Marvin, another question, if I can. China economic growth is supporting a lot of global economies at the moment, and at the same time, it's a huge global uncertainty. What are your views on this?
I think it is a huge global uncertainty, geopolitical risk. And the problem is that countries are not really dealing with the geopolitical risk of China for a bunch of reasons. One is China's had this extraordinary growth since 1978. So people now assume that it's kind of guaranteed, ironclad, it'll go on forever, which it won't. Nobody grows like that indefinitely. The second problem is people figure they're going to make the money while they can and they'll worry about things later. And so they aren't dealing with this risk, and it seems to me we're going to face a day of reckoning in the not so distant future.
Absolutely. I have to say, I agree with you on that. I think what's interesting is when economic growth, of course, dropped, suddenly there was this response, wow, it's less than 10%.
Right.
Okay, and the last question I'd like to ask you is about specifically about the US, if I can. And that is, a simple question. How important is energy security to the US, And, you think of unconventional gas, very low prices, and I'm just wondering, whether this has changed the perception of the US gas users and politicians.
Energy security is real important to the United States. And if you look at the history of American military expenditures and the use of the military, it's not used in places where there aren't a lot of energy. So let's start with that. But specifically to your question, I think people in the United States are looking forward to a new relationship to the energy markets on the basis of non-conventional gas. There's no question that the commitment to the demand for gas is going up rapidly. People will convert from coal-fired to gas-fired power plants, for example. People will be generating electricity with gas, which will help electric cars. And it's not so much, I think, security, although that's important. It's also really a question of price. And the price at the moment is so low and will stay relatively low for a relatively long period of time that I think this is going to help transform the American economy.